howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again, and welcome to The Roads with Belle. Today is October 18th, 2024, and today we're going down the roads to your fun questions about Halloween. And this is part 2, the sequel. We got way more questions than expected, so we split it up into 2 parts. And it's just something to give us a little break from the election in the U.S. and all the other news going on in the world. So again, today is October 18th, and on this date, The Ring was released. So, on to the questions. Silly questions. Favorite Aliens movie? Alien 3. I just watched it with my kiddo, and he absolutely thought it was amazing. So, right now, that's amazing and my favorite too. If you were a movie monster, which one would you be? A werewolf. What does your Halloween display include apart from the werewolf? Do you do a fall display? We have everything from the farm animal skeletons, which are not anatomically correct, but fun to have. We have cemeteries, giant spiders, Hollywood villains. I mean, it's endless. We have a ton. And we set them up in different sections sometimes. Sometimes we just put it all up. And I have a ton of skeletons. I am all about the skeletons. Can you please mention Krampus? This is important folklore. This important folklore connects Halloween to the holiday season and is fun to learn about. Cheers. Yes, it is fun to learn about. I love Krampus. If you don't know about Krampus, definitely look it up. I do love to listen to stories about Krampus. Sometimes it helps, like you said, build that bridge to the other holidays. Sometimes I'm not ready to let go of the spooky season, so it's nice to have that. On TikTok during the pandemic, I followed some creators who talked about life in the woods of Appalachia. Folk wisdom like theirs from around the country would be interesting. For example, if you hear someone outside call your name at night, no you didn't. Or how kids experienced loss of time in the outside world after going into abandoned homes and going upstairs. They thought they were only there a few minutes. I commented how in the middle of the Lower Peninsula in Michigan, there were some forests I felt comfortable hiking in and others we always avoided but didn't know why. A Marine told me to trust that feeling and that there are some things too scary to talk about in those woods even for him. I totally believe in the gift of fear. Your subconscious lets you know things sometimes, and your body will react, and you need to trust your gut feeling. Sometimes we don't listen to what our heart rate, our gut, just the EBGB feeling we get. Sometimes we ignore those things because we think, oh, we're being silly or we're being irrational. No, absolutely trust your gut. There's a sense there, and you should listen to it. I would like to explore the origins of Halloween. I have heard that Christmas and Easter were once pagan holidays, coinciding with the equinox and season changing. Is there anything like this on Halloween? Going on with Halloween? And is Halloween actually a religious celebration? If you believe in Satan, surely you believe in angels, gods, etc. My birthday is Halloween, so I ponder this a lot. We have a few pagan friends that hold different beliefs about the origin and meaning. I don't want to step on anybody's toes about that. But what I will say is that most connect it to the end of summer and the beginning of the harvest season. And most connect it to a period in which the veil between this world and the next is the thinnest. There's definitely a religious connection, but it's mostly been lost in today's society. In my community, Halloween is a vexed holiday. There are a lot of evangelical churches around that regard the holiday as a satanic celebration, and a lot of folks who won't answer the door. How did we get here? Fear of the unknown, which is funny because embracing the unknown is part of the holiday. But fear of the unknown. When I was doing my usual Halloween seasonal shopping, it's my family's favorite holiday, I noticed some additions. Spooky gingerbread houses, spooky Easter eggs, etc. It's not new, of course, but this year it's definitely felt more on the nose. Besides the more obvious money aspect, do you have any thoughts about what might be part of this trend of blending holiday practices? It's something I've been mulling over since I started noticing it. People have become less and less entrenched in the traditional things, and more open to new experiences, and that they blend things and they're fun, but also money, like you said. What are your favorite Universal monsters and X-File monsters of the week? Werewolves and Wendigo. Hi, Belle. I would like to know if you were in charge of a Halloween show marathon that reflects today's politics, what would you pick? Perhaps Rosemary's Baby or Twilight Zone, It's a Wonderful Life from 1961. Ongoing thanks for all your insights. Resident Evil. All of them. Watch from the beginning. That billionaire organization driving people to be in a state where they aren't thinking, but somehow the billionaire keeps getting away with it. It'll make sense. Resident Evil. Did Bo or did he not turn into a werewolf after his so-called injury last Halloween? No comment. Chocolate candy or fruity candy? Chocolate. Twizzlers or red vines? Twizzlers. Do the horses get to wear costumes? No. I just haven't got them any. That doesn't seem like something some of them would like. Favorite spooky movie? Trick or Treat. What are your top 5 monsters? Sam from Trick or Treat. Freddy, if that is a monster, I'm not sure. Werewolves. It. Jeepers Creepers. And Sawtooth Jack. That's right up there. I'm wondering, since you are living in a rural area, are you usually trick-or-treating, driving it to homes in the area, driving to a more populated neighborhood, parking nearby, then walking through the neighborhood trick-or-treating, or going to a centrally located trunk-or-treat? When I was young, we were living in a trailer park that was in a rural area. So we would have people coming to the trailer park to be having easy pickings. We needed to be giving out a lot more candy than just for people living in the trailer park. But we did have fun seeing many more costumes. There was also another trailer park in the area that we did go to, and they did go to ours. The other trailer park was considered a wealthier trailer park, so it was favored over ours to be trick-or-treating in. Anyway, sorry this is so very long. Thank you, Belle, Bo, and the crew for greatly easing tensions all over our planet. Happy Halloween, many hugs, take care, stay safe, and healthy to everyone, everywhere, always. We sometimes do the trunk or treat in town, but normally it's the big party out here. Do you have any surprising or facepalm stories from Halloween? Yes. So the kids wanted to play with a Ouija board. They saw stuff about it and wanted to do it. So Bo's like, sure. And he starts making this big production about it. And he decides he's going to start with the fire pit and tell stories and kind of freak him out. And he had made the fire, and it turned also like a greenish blue color. And I have one kid, the one I was watching Alien with, who's just very logical and is always trying to figure out how something works. And he looks at me and he's like a little miffed. And he's like, did you put whatever he named, like some compound, in the fire to make it do that and change color? And I was just like, I was floored. He's like, did you do that or did Dad? And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, because the other kids were like, oh, wow. And I'm just like, bro, you have no chill. Just relax. Enjoy the moment. But he's just always trying to figure stuff out. So it's funny. So that would be my facepalm story. Like, don't ruin the fun for everyone else. Come on. But he's great. He's so smart. All right. Questions. What are you most looking forward to post-election to focus on as election coverage should die down? Assuming the whole country doesn't light up in flames as people take to the streets to claim the other side should have lost. Ignoring that nightmare, what do you guys want to focus on most? More international news, community networking, and cultural news. Those are things I would really like to get back to. I realize now on the other channel, that was one of the reasons he started doing a fourth video, was to try to get cultural news and things like that in there. And I'm just still trying to keep everything going the way it is. I'm just not, I don't think a fourth video is a good idea, but I am very much looking forward to getting back to that as soon as the election's over. It'll be great. Second, more personal question. With climate change, the property crisis, and the insurance crisis, how are you looking at the impact of climate change on your family directly? I still deal with a great deal of anger towards our general ineptitude, but are you planning at all that Florida might be a less and less desirable location in the future? Our place is situated in Florida in an area that's actually okay. Minus the hurricane strength winds, we should be all right. So other than wind increase. So we haven't really thought about changing locations. Hi, Belle. Thanks for taking over the show and keeping things running. I love what you are doing with it. At the same time, I also miss Bo. I, too, would love to hear what your and Bo's favorite Halloween costumes were that you wore. And do you have any tales of epic costume fails or last-minute emergencies for you, Bo, or the kids? Hugs to you and the team. We are usually pretty creative. We can do a lot of things last minute. And we do try to organize as like a family for a family costume thing. Like one year, we all went as older characters like Dracula, a mummy, a wolfman, a witch, just all kind of standard. And so we've done things like that. We did have an incident where a costume had a malfunction that was bought because it's what the child picked. And Bo sprung into action, and we got a cardboard box and some paint, and bam, HAL 9000. And he loved it, and it went perfectly. So, yeah, it happens. I know someone who posits that Halloween is much more an adult holiday than a kid one. What do you think? If you do it right, it's both. It's definitely both. Oh, and do you believe a house can have spirits? We try to avoid getting too into religious beliefs, but I will say we smudge the house. Are there any ghost stories from your local area, ones that you tell around a campfire? There is a swamp near us, and there's an old local story that's very similar to the legend of Woolly Swamp. Woolly Swamp. So there's that one. Most of the time, it's old ones that we've heard as kids that we pass on or have adjusted for the little ones. Have you ever seen a ghost or had a bad moment when you were convinced someplace was haunted AF and just walked away? Basically, I want to hear any real-life ghost stories you have to tell. No, I would actually probably want to go into those places if I actually thought they were haunted. I will say any medical professional will probably tell you any hospital they've worked in has a story. And sometimes there are places that just make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Like and you can't quite explain it. Also, do you have any spooky urban legend stories to share? I remember as a kid, I was so freaked out by the Bloody Mary story, that I couldn't sleep in a room unless the mirrors were covered. Bloody Mary? Which one was that? Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary. Monsters, slashers, or haunted houses? I'm a monster movie kind of guy. Slashers. Boo, hi. Did I scare you? Has anyone ever dressed up as Bo for Halloween? Do you think costumes should be scary or creepy, or is sexy nurse an acceptable Halloween costume? If you need to use Halloween to lower your inhibitions to dress up sexy, then you're doing it wrong. But I am definitely a scary or creepy. I definitely think it should be scary or creepy. And yes, people have dressed up as Bo for Halloween. We sometimes get pictures or small little videos. So it has happened. If you were putting together a weekend-long spooky movie marathon, which movies would you include? Any classic movies on that list? It would depend on what you think are classics, and I would definitely go with Halloween 1 and 2, and basically any of them with Jamie Lee Curtis. And then Friday the 13th, the original one, and the second one. And then I do like all the Scream series, so if you want to add a little more, but again, they're all slasher movies, so that's what I would go with. Do you have a Halloween film that you must watch each year? If so, what is it? It's Trick or Treat. Sorry, I can't think of any spooky questions, but how's Bo? What's he up to lately? With all due respect for his privacy, of course. Bo is good. Bo is really, really good. He is feeling a lot better. He is definitely getting the hang of all of his new responsibilities. He is doing good, and he's feeling much better, and he's much happier. I promise he is A-okay. I know there's been weird stories, but no, he is absolutely fine and enjoying daily life. Which X-Files episode do you find the spookiest? Any of them with the smoking man. Do you and your kids make your own costumes? Do you trick or treat, or is it too remote? It's the first year my granddaughters and I poured through a bag of hand-me-downs. One is going as a French beatnik, thanks to a too small wool beret I had, and the other will wear a Brass crown, a dress cut into a skirt, and a capelet as Nature Earth. They have a parade after the last day of school in town. So much more fun than buying costumes. Yes, it can be a lot of fun. Those sound awesome. We, like I said, will definitely whip something up. It just depends on what the kids decide that year, what they want to be. But we have definitely done that and whipped stuff up. I say let's have fun with Halloween before the election. Anyone dressing up as Trump with a cat or dog? Answer down below in the comments. Largest, silliest, smallest, and most loved Halloween decoration you have ever had. Jason and Michael are the largest, and again, just because they get so much play this month. Like, my son had Jason at the kitchen sink one morning, and he put it there in the middle of the night, and when I got up and I walked out, I jumped. It freaked me out. So they are two of my most loved decorations. And hand towels that my mother made for the spooky season. And she makes them for me all the time. And it's just cool that she supports my love of Halloween, and because she thinks it's kind of strange, like to put skulls on things. But she does it for me, and I love that. And those are some of my most favorites. Silly question. How do you think polls would reflect the chance if a vampire ran for elected office? I don't know. Karl Rove has never run himself. I have a friend that does barrel racing, and they do costume competitions for the horses. Have you ever done that? As an internet mom, you stay away from her. I'm just kidding. It's a bad stereotype. I have never dressed up the horses, and I don't do competitions like that. I have seen friends that do that. I do have a friend that paints her horse, also uses glitter, which is, a whole lot to clean up. They did do that when they did things like drill team. I have friends that did that, but no, I've never really dressed up the horses. Okay, so that looks like that's it. We have some other Halloween surprises coming, so keep an eye out on the channel. And a little more information and a little more context and having the right information will make all the difference. Y'all have a good day.